as you see. But you need some upliftment, right? Because we don't want to cry all night, because this is a journey to heal. We want to thrive today.
So when I was born, when I was doing research about depression, there was not a lot of people that I saw talking about the issue. So I Googled, I YouTube, and I found this lady by the name of Terry Williams. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know that she was a legend. I didn't know any of that stuff that I know now. And I would just tell people, I'm like, okay, have you heard of this lady named Terry Williams? Everyone knew who she was. So I picked up the phone. I got her number. I'm not going to tell you how I got it. And I called her. It took a minute to get to her, but I got her. And now here she is, a partner, and like a mother figure. Here she is, Miss Terry Williams.
What came out of my depression was a book called Black Pain, It Just Looks Like We're Not Hurting. And it came out about 5 years ago, and people are still reaching out saying, thank you for naming the pain, thank you for helping me to understand what it is that I'm going through, asking for the names of the therapist. I just want to read something very quickly for you. As a young African male, you have to have your war face on at all times. This was a challenge during my trial. This is by Puffy Combs. You remember when he had to go, y'all remember? Yeah. The bar scene. Potentially facing up to 15 years in prison humbled me. I was scared to death, but I wouldn't show it. I had to maintain my swagger. But one of the ways I dealt with depression was to sleep excessively. Some people like to run away from the uncut truth, but I tend to go inside myself to deal with my pain.
You know when a woman is pregnant. You can look at her and tell. You know when someone has a broken arm. You can look at them and tell, but often you can't look at a person in the face and determine that they're struggling with depression. But tonight, we are going to get a better handle on what that looks like. So, to continue us on this journey tonight is Dr. Jeff Gardier from the doctor's perspective. Dr. Jeff is one of the most widely sought after experts in the field of mental health, and in addition to having a private practice in Manhattan, he has garnered a reputation as being a top motivational and keynote speaker, empowerment, and media coach. Dr. Jeff Gardier.
I became involved in the film, of course, when Ken and Squeaky approached me about being in the film, being part of the film with regard to giving clinical opinion as to what depression looks like in the Black community. You're going to hear a lot tonight as to what depression is all about, what the sadness and the tears and the causes of depression. But I just want to tell you a little bit of what it looks like in the Black community. Sometimes it looks like very inappropriate behavior. Sometimes it looks like the behaviors that we see on 125th Street, where we see people that are homeless or people that are talking to themselves. Sometimes it looks like what happens when our young Black men and young Black women are victimized in the streets. Sometimes we see it through the incest that unfortunately Terry talked about that takes place. But primarily where we see it and where it affects us the most is in the jails, the incarcerations. Many of you may not know that when we had deinstitutionalization in the late 60s, early 70s, into the 80s, where we closed down mental institutions, state institutions, psychiatric hospitals, the fallback plan was to be the mental health centers. These were started by Robert Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, in order to be able to provide outpatient mental health services for the people who are no longer part of the institutions. But a funny thing happened on the way to these community mental health centers. There weren't enough of them. And so what we saw and what we're seeing now with deinstitutionalization, people with mental health issues are landing in jail.
I got a tweet from a guy who was about to commit suicide. I gave him my telephone number. And do you know Squeaky and I, we got on the phone with him and we talked him out of it. And these messages that you're about to see, some of these messages are from him.
Well, and you're reading what's real. This is not made up. This is what we deal with every day.